If you wish to grant an access to your Linux-based machine to another person and/or limit their access to certain files, folders and rights, then you need to learn a bit about user management in Linux system. Hi, my name is Elvis and I welcome you to my instructional video on the user management in Linux. In this tutorial, I will show you the way how to add, modify and remove users in Linux operating system. What makes a Linux user, which data it consists of, and where is this all stored? To show you this, I will need to open a file called passwd, and it is not misspelled for password. This file is located in the folder etc. As you see here, this might look like a random bunch of text, but it is not. All those lines are separate users on this system. They are not all the users that will log in, let's say human users, but those are the users created for special services that are running in background or can be activated. To explain you this, the first part, as you see here, is the username itself. X stands for password, which is stored in another file. We will see that later. The first number is user ID, the second number is group ID, default group ID. What comes next is the default home directory, and last part is default shell that will be opened once upon user logs in. The second file that I will show you is also in etc and is called shadow. Here is where the password is stored for each user. There are some differences. If you see exclamation mark, the password has been deactivated and user cannot log in. Same goes for the asterisk, but if you see something like this, this is the hashed version of your password with added salt. Now let's see how we add a new user. An important thing is that you need root privileges to add a new user to the system. So if you are not root, you must be in sudo group, and to execute a command you always type sudo before the command. So since I am root, I don't need to type sudo. We will type add user and name of the user, let's say Johnny2. So now I'm asked here to set a new password for the new user. Let's say 12345. 12345 retype. And now I'm asked for the extra parameters that are not obligatory, but you can add them to the system for easier maintenance of the user, let's say that database. So for full name, let's say his name is Johnny Unknown. Room number, if he works in office, let's say 301. Work phone, he does not have a phone. Home phone also. Other information, let's say you can put a comments when you created it, why you created it, which privileges does this user have, and some sort of things. Let's say this user is not in sudo group. Are the information correct? Yes. And now let's check it out if the new user was added. As we see here, a new user Johnny2 was added. His user ID number is 1000. His default user group is 1001. His name is Johnny Unknown. He works in office 301, and other informations we did not add. As a comment, this user is not in sudo group. His home directory is home/Johnny2, and default shell that he will be using is bash. If we check out now the shadow file for his password, we see that 12345 was hashed to this long hashed password. So it's difficult, if not impossible, to read out what kind of password does he has. How does this work? When user types in his or her password as numbers or letters, a salt, a random numbers or letter are added. This goes through the algorithm for encryption, and while hash is a result of that algorithm. And this is this. If we put this as a password in, this will not be accepted. Only the real password that user adds, it will be also let's say rehashed, and will be compared if hash matches to this hash right here. If it does not match, you are not granted access. If it is matched, user is granted an access. Let's talk about groups now, since everyone wants to be in a group, well, at least most of the people. But joke aside, in Linux, groups are used and are very useful to grant an access or permission to certain files, certain options or rights that this user can have. And instead of, let's say, granting separate permissions to 100 users, this will be quite laborious task. We just add user to this group and we grant permission to this group. There is a file which lists all the groups that are currently on the system and which users are inside. To access this file, you type in cat, once again etc, and group. Those are all current groups that are residing at this time on my system. You see here root, and we have a Johnny2 group that was created automatically with the new user Johnny. When we did this, group ID is 1001. So to add a new group, you type in simply group add and group name, let's say employer, employee. Now if we check again, we see that a new group is added with group ID 1002. This number will always automatically increment if not specifically declared. To add a user to a new group, let's add our employee Johnny2 to this employee group. You type in command user mod -a small a as append and -g, a big G, to group name, and let's say Johnny2. What this means, if you use -g, this means that we are appending to another group. So now Johnny2 will have group Johnny2 and employee. If you would type small g, that means that Johnny2 user will have a default group employee and not Johnny2. Enter. Now let's check it out, and we see that in group employee we have a new user Johnny2. To remove a user from a particular group, let's say we don't like Johnny2 anymore, so we are going to fire him. You type in del user, a name of the person, of the user, and name of the group. As you see, removing Johnny2 from the group employee. If you wish to remove Johnny2 from all other groups except his primary default group, you type in user mod -G and username, in this case. But since Johnny2 was only in group Johnny2 at that time, he was not removed from any other groups. As you said, we want to fire Johnny since he is incompetent worker. But before we fire him, we want to disable his account and disable his password, so nobody can log in. To do this, we type in user mod -L to lock password -e space 1 to set expiration date, and the username. If we check out now the shadow file, we see here that exclamation mark has been set and expiration date to 1. This disables this user to log in to this machine. Final step is to delete this user and get rid of Johnny once for all. To do this, you type in del user Johnny2. Message we got is that removing user is in progress. We get a warning that the group user Johnny2 has no more members and process has been finished. To check out if Johnny is in shadow file, let's see here. Johnny is not anymore inside, and let's check it one more time in the passwd. You see here Johnny is also not here, and to make sure that his group is also removed, type in etc group, and Johnny2 group does not exist. To delete a group, you simply type in their group and employee. As you see here, group employee was effectively removed from the system. We are at the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit like button. If not, dislike it. You can post a comment and any suggestions that you have for this or any further videos.